the channel. Hope you guys are all right, doing good. So yesterday was a very interesting day in the YouTube sphere of reaction channels. People who are not aware of the background, let me give you that. Tried and Refused Productions, a reaction channel. It posted a video, I think a day or two ago. And in that video, they analyzed the foreign reaction channels and the reality or the truth behind it, behind all of them. And he actually used in the thumbnail a picture of one of the most prominent faces of foreign reaction channel, and also talked at length about this particular reaction channel, which is Jaby Koay. A lot of us who have been following the reaction channels, specifically aiming at Indian audiences and Indian content, would be aware of Jaby's name, and which resulted in the video not settling well with Jaby. He took to YouTube and he posted a video, a reaction video on the Tried and Refused Productions YouTube video. So it kind of triggered off a lot of conversation in the comment section, a lot of worrying people who were saying who is right and who is wrong. I have little something to add to this discussion, and I have watched both the videos and I want to share a little insight from my own side. Let's go and do that. Okay, so Tried and Refused Productions starts his video by talking about various reaction channels and how the evolution or the boom happened. And if I remember correctly, I discovered Jaby's channel in about 2016. I was living in America back then. And I got so excited to see that, oh my god, these Firangs watch our channels too. While living there, you are a foreigner, but then. So it got me really excited, and then I started watching more and more, and I discovered an entire genre of these reaction channels directly and specifically aiming at the Indian audiences and Indian content. And back then there were few, a couple of them, and it was fun to watch because it was a new thing, and none of us had ever watched or had an opportunity of having a friend who is of different culture and a different country sit down and watch our movies and our things with us and give an opinion about those things. And therefore it kind of boomed like crazy, and it exploded right in front of my eyes. I mean, I saw literally families, single people, and anybody who had an access to video and internet were sitting down and making reaction videos for Bollywood or Indian cinema content. Now what happens is that as you start watching a lot of people and a lot of reaction channels, as a viewer, you definitely arrive at, okay, these people have some value add to make, these people are absolutely rubbish. And that is when, as a viewer, you make that discretion of choosing what to watch and what not to watch. But there is more to it than meets the eye, and we'll talk about it further. So this is how it starts, where the revolution happened actually regarding the reaction channels in the YouTube sphere, specifically aiming at India and India related content. So of course there was content being made for 1.4 billion of us, and these many people. We have cinemas being made in not just one language. Indian cinema comes in so many languages. We have the South cinema, we have the Bengali cinema, we have the Hindi cinema. So there is a lot of output of content, and TRP, or the Tried and Refused Production, I'll refer to it as TRP from now on. Is it wrong in saying that this might have looked as a very lucrative market to these people. How 1.4 billion of us might have come across as a very lucrative market for all these people who were doing reaction channels. And Jaby drops in, well, his comment is that he did not approach India. It is the Indians who actually came to him requesting reaction videos. It may be true for him, but for all the others that followed, a lot of them must have simply watched him doing so well with so many comments and so much of love showered by people that they thought that it's an easy route to fame and probably also some money. So we have that Vicky girl and another girl who speaks with a lisp, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to personally attack, but that is how I remember her. And they started doing reactions to songs, and there is Danish Ansari, I'll put the name down there, and some of them are good because they bring certain value add when they are talking about, even as a foreigner, if you're watching something, you bring a certain value add. Okay, this is a new perspective. But most of the time what these reaction channels are doing, as mentioned in a lot of comments that followed on both these videos comment section, that they are telling us what we already know, and that is true. That is actually true. So they're telling us if Amitabh Bachchan is a legend, we have known it for 30-40 years. Come on. So that is when it comes about bringing value add to the discussion. So when Jaby says that this is not what I do, it is oversimplification of my job, that I just pose, that I just post when I'm laughing at a certain point in, as TRP mentioned, that this is what they do, freeze the frame when they're laughing or showing some extreme sort of an emotion in response to a video. But it actually also is giving yourself a little too much credit of the work that you're doing, Jaby. It's not that you are bringing in some sort of an analysis which is valuable, which people or cinema students would sit and listen to. It's not that. So let's not make ourselves too important or too valuable here in this discussion. It's just a reaction channel, and let's keep it that way, right? We still haven't got to cultural appropriation, and I'll get to it. Okay, the next section talks about the origin and never be critical aspect of these reaction channels. There is an element of truth in there, but I also kind of sympathize with people who are not able to come out and criticize the content being, because you see, it's again a two-edged sword for somebody from another culture reacting to your stuff, because some people might be nice to you, some people may not be that nice to you, so it happens. And never being critical aspect is something which I would just give the benefit of doubt here, because I've seen Jaby's work and he kind of, you can make out from the facial expression whether a person is enjoying something or not enjoying something. So I'm a very vocal person, so I kind of just say that Houseful 4 was shit, and I just did it when I was reacting to it. Probably it doesn't come that easy to a person from another culture, because they think that if they say something, they don't want to, they don't know how important or what meaning it holds for the people of another culture, and therefore if they say something and they may offend someone, and that's not what something or someone would want to do consciously. And therefore I would give Jaby, I would look at it sympathetically when he says, or even when he doesn't say, that he kind of not criticizes that often the content that he watches, the Indian content that he watches. So yeah, that is my view or my perspective on it. So we would have to give that leeway to the foreigners reacting to our content, because criticizing isn't easy thing to do. Like he talks about Bali 3 being compared to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Race 3 being called as a cool movie. So it's when a content is put together and it passes through your eyes for the first time, if they are genuinely doing it, like not having watched it before or having any context of it, and it just comes across here. Most of the time, all these movies these days, the trailers are pretty sleek. So even us Indians can be fooled by what is being offered in the trailer. So they put the best parts of the movie together and they just give it to you. And I would wind this up or defend Jaby here by saying that sometimes the trailers are absolutely misleading. Seriously, I mean, I get trumped so many times. So yeah, that was there. Okay, the next thing TRP talks about is the numbers that are coming to them wasn't because of their genuine interest in Indian cinema, but just because they were getting views, they ended up doing more and more of those videos. I don't see why Jaby needs to defend that. Jaby or any reaction channel, foreigners reacting to Indian stuff need to defend that, because see, it was not out there and it was discovered by someone, and then people started doing it more and more because it was giving them positive result. So I don't think there is a problem, or you can call out someone just because something is working for them. That is a little immature from TRP's part, because it doesn't really make sense. You can't point out people for doing good, for picking up something that is working for them. You can't call them out for that. So that point was unnecessary actually. Okay, the next most important thing that he mentions or talks about is these foreign reaction channels milking the deaths of two celebrities that we lost recently, Irfan Khan and Rishi Kapoor. And he talks about these reaction channels putting out videos and just reacting to those videos and putting out content about these two celebrities just because these are the trending things in India at that point of time. And I don't think he's wrong in saying that. When he says that they are reacting as if they have known Rishi Kapoor or they have known Irfan Khan, for Irfan Khan I might agree, because he is, like Jaby also mentions, that he has been an international star and starred in so many Hollywood movies as well. But now, yahan I would want to talk about what cultural appropriation is. See, when somebody adopts an element of another person's culture, okay, and then just adopts them without knowing the full context of that thing, that is what is called cultural appropriation. So I'll give you an example. People in LA would, not just in LA, it's anywhere in the world. I just picked up LA's example because it's so cosmopolitan and people from all over the world are there. And somebody would put a bindi, and it was pretty popular in the 90s, and a lot of Madonna used bindi, and Britney Spears did, and Shania Twain did in one of her songs, and they use henna tattoos. And the thing is, they would adopt a part of a minority culture. The dominant culture would adopt a part of minority culture's aspect, adopt it as their own, without making an effort to understand those people, understand the relevance of that cultural tradition or custom, and still carrying prejudice against those minority communities. Now, I'll tell you how this applies to the reaction channel world. So they would, I remember a lot of British people reacting to AIBs the day when India resigned. Now, a lot of English people got offended. They got offended by what they watched, and they did not know, because they had not been shared this in their history class, that this is what their dominant culture did to this minority subservient culture, and therefore when it was presented to them in an entertainment content form, they still got offended. And some of them on camera, they said that no, this didn't happen, this is not how it works. So that's what happens when a cultural appropriation is taking place, when you are viewing content from another culture. Similarly, people reacting to Bollywood dances. There are two brothers or friends, I don't remember, they react to Bollywood dance numbers, and so their focus remains on, oh, how exotic this woman looks, oh my god, how beautiful this woman looks. And that is stereotyping, stereotyping Bollywood, stereotyping Indian cinema, and stereotyping Indian people. That's what happens. So even if when they are watching content after content and they know there are so many aspects of India as a country, but they would still remain fixated on those stereotypical things that is associated with Bollywood or India or Indians. And oh, song and dance, oh, Bollywood. So that is cultural appropriation, and that doesn't go away with no matter how much of content you consume from that culture, because at the end of the day you do not know the context. So again, they again talk about these demise of Rishi Kapoor and Irfan Khan being used or milked by these creators. There is an iota of truth in there, and I would stand with TRP, and I would appreciate him pointing this out in very open, truthful words. Alright, so the next point discussed is they reacting to absolutely all sorts of content coming out of India, even stand-up comedies. And stand-up comedies have very, very typical cultural contexts or jokes which only a person of that culture can understand. There is no denying or arguing this bit. He is absolutely right when he says that. I'll give you an example. Man, people, North America is, United States of America is made up of 50 states, right? And people from the West Coast, from California, cannot understand what people on East Coast make as jokes. So, you know, people in India, they say that we watch Hollywood movies, so why can't these foreigners watch our movies and it's okay and we understand the context? No, you don't. I remember watching Deadpool, and where he was, during the initial bits of when the movie started, he was dissing someone whose name was Ajax. And you people, people who are living in India, us Indians, people who are living in India, or would never know why somebody would be dissing Ajax as a name. But people who live in America would know that it's the dishwashing liquid that we use in our dishwashers, right? So that is the humor thing that you miss unless it is outlined in the subtitles by someone, that what it means specifically within the Indian context. Only then you would be able to appreciate the joke or make any sense out of it. And it's valid. I mean, in all the rom-coms or somewhere I'd seen where people would say that do a relationship test, just sit down and put in IKEA furniture together. So people in India might not get that reference, or probably now they do, but a few years ago they wouldn't have got the reference because they don't know what putting the furniture from IKEA together means. It means hell. And if you pass that test, your relationship is rock solid. So these are bits that you cannot expect people to understand without knowing the context. And frankly, reacting to stand-up comedy specifically from India is Veer does a very very suited. I mean, it's customized actually. His comedy is the one that is there available on the Netflix, and whatever he does in the late night show he did. So it's a very customized stand up for the American audiences. Now, if that is happening and you're reacting to that, it makes sense because it is aimed at an audience like you. But when Vedas is doing it for Indians, he would use a lot of things which Jaby or other foreign reaction channels would not get, and they would not understand. Kenny Sebastian does a lot of things which is so culturally Indian and sometimes even very specific to Malayali culture, and people from North India might not be able to appreciate or understand it, and that's okay. So that thing is valid. That thing is there that you probably might not appreciate or understand. So what's the point of doing stand-up comedy reactions? I think TRP has a point there. Okay, and so to wind all of this up, the concept of reaction channels is basically to appreciate and capture the raw emotion of someone watching something. And in my opinion, it has become so big is just because of the sheer fact that people are lonely. Okay, I am tired now and beads of perspiration are on my forehead. But I hope this feud ends and everybody gets to enjoy whatever they like watching. And if you enjoy watching this video and this reaction and this conversation and this analysis, please stop by and subscribe to the channel and yeah, give it a like, comment, share, and subscribe before you leave. This is me signing off. Goodbye and take care of yourselves.